And other good news on the employment front, CityCenter is gearing up, and joining me now is the Vice President of Staffing for CityCenter. Welcome.
Thank you.
I understand 125,000 applications so far.
That's right.
Is it too late to apply?
Absolutely not. We look for a diverse workforce, and we look for talent right up until the end of the whole hiring process. We also are looking for 4 qualified applicants for every single opening. So we're gearing up and moving ahead.
And where are we in the process now? Job offers are being made or interviews? Where are we?
We started interviews, Kathy, in the month of February. Our Career Center opened in January. We're now well into the interview process, on our way to beginning the job offer process, which would be later in the summer or early fall.
And then when do you expect to start bringing people on?
We would begin to make those job offers in the fall. I would imagine most of those positions would begin work sometime in November with the opening plan for December.
And you were saying there was a reason. Usually it's 2 to 3 weeks to hire. This is 11 months, right?
Right. We consider first and foremost the internal applicants of MGM Mirage. And in order to give our properties time to adjust to our hiring timeline, we need to begin that process soon so they can begin looking at backfill in those positions also.
Oh, okay. So it has that reverberation throughout each property that you have, correct?
Reverberation's a great word. That's exactly what happens. There's certainly an effect at every property. And it's good for the company. It's good for MGM Mirage to have this sense of diversity and infusion of new blood into the entire company.
Let me ask you this, too. You were saying that you aren't necessarily looking for people with gaming backgrounds, that isn't a total must.
Not a total requirement. As we've been doing our hiring events and job fairs around town, we have met a variety of people with tremendous diversity in terms of background and experience. We have a staff of career advisors that will help applicants find the job that is well suited for their transferable skills.
You said especially you're looking in some cases for more women to apply.
We would love for women to consider some non-traditional jobs. You know, women make most of the career decisions, the consumer decisions in the household. They're great managers. We would love for women to come to CityCenter and consider jobs they may not have thought of before, such as in accounting, in other areas of finance, in the culinary positions in food and beverage, or engineering and security.
Okay, got a couple of quick questions I have to ask you about the website, though.
Sure.
I hear from some people, they say they have a little hard time when they want to apply for more than one job at a time, and the website won't let them.
Right. In order to process our applications efficiently, we really do need people to focus on one job. We want them to come to the Career Center and meet with our career advisors after completing the application and be ready to talk about their qualifications, have their pitch ready. But at that point in the advisement process, we can also help them find a job that is more suitable for their skills.
So you're saying don't just apply on the web, you need to also go down to the Career Advising Center?
There would be an opportunity for everybody who applies to come to the Career Center on Industrial Road and meet with our career advising staff, yes.
Okay, that's good. The other little glitch I hear people tell me is that they're now being asked to schedule interviews, but they feel a little frustrated because there's nothing available maybe for the next 2 weeks.
We're beginning to really speed up that interview process, and our hiring managers, which are giving us their time, the hiring managers at CityCenter are working in other entities of MGM Mirage. So they're working their day job and then coming to help us do interviews at CityCenter.
All right, so we got to ask people to be patient.
Yes, they will get an interview. If they pass the qualifications, they will get an interview.
Sorry, I'm out of time, but I do want to remind people that you still can apply and go to citycentercareers.com. The rise in abandoned homes means more and more of us don't even know who our neighbors are. And police say that's making it easier for criminals. Desiree Duncan has more on what we can do to protect our homes.
Candace Nichols went to work one morning just like she's done every day for the past 27 years of living in her home. Only this time when she returned home, she was startled by the news that she had been broken into.
My house was pretty much trashed. They were really looking for jewelry, so my bedroom was pretty much ransacked. Every drawer gone through, so it's quite a violation.
Nichols' home was broken into during the middle of the day. There were no witnesses, and it seemed that the burglars moved quite swiftly.
It was one kick to my front door. There was one footprint on the door, and the whole wood frame was shattered, and the door hit the wall and was left like that, of course, when they left. But I really had no idea how easy it is. And I guess, if anybody wants to break into your house, they're going to find a way in.
Upon cleaning up and citing what had been taken, Nichols noticed that the obvious items had not been, but that the burglars were looking for something specific.
All my jewelry was taken, a lot of antiques, some old stuff, heirlooms, as well as a lot of junk jewelry. It didn't seem to matter. It was pretty random. It was obvious that they were just looking for money and jewelry, though. That people, have to be more desperate. And more desperate times call for more desperate measures, I think, from people. And, maybe even good people do bad things when they're desperate.
The Henderson Police Department have a home safety survey that you can pick up at their Community Relations office located inside the Galleria Mall. It's a checklist of the security of your home. Officer David Kohlmeyer offered some basic tips to keep your home secure.
Lighting is extremely important at nighttime. We want to light up the entire outside of the home and the rear because criminals are like cockroaches. As long as we turn the lights on, they're going to scatter. They're not going to be around that property. By securing the front door, by adding the lighting, doing the side lock on the gate, those are some huge things to prevent burglaries from happening to your location.
There are new developments in home security that are easy ways to deter entry from intruders.
There's something called a security laminate. A lot of people are not familiar with it. What it is it's like a tint that would be on a window, but it can be clear or it can be a tint color. It's something that can be placed on a window. When you place that tint or the clear tint on a window, if someone tried to take a rock or a stick and throw it into a window, it wouldn't break. No one would know that laminate is on a window, so it's a way of preventing someone from entering your house.
If you are ever burglarized, the first thing you should do is call the police at 311 so they can make sure your home is safe to enter. Desiree Duncan, Recession Rx.
Another area of concern when we're talking about the foreclosure crisis is the increase in homicides and suicides in the Las Vegas Valley. And joining me now is the coroner, Mike Murphy, to talk about this. And I understand that murder-suicide is up this year.
That it is, and unfortunately we're seeing just a little bit of an uptick over the last couple of years. We generally will run 7 or 8 of those a year. To date, we're at 5, and so if we continue on this track, we'll clearly see that there'll be an increase by a couple of cases this year.
Can we tie that to the recession?
Clearly we can. We're seeing a couple of different issues. One is those folks that literally have lost everything, their homes in foreclosure. They feel like that they're at their financial end, and so they make a decision either as a pact between the two of them to do a double suicide or a homicide-suicide where one person will take the life of a loved one and then they'll take their own life. And then we're also seeing an increase in senior citizens that are finding that they're financially unable to provide services for each other. Maybe one person is a caregiver for the other. That caregiver then becomes ill, and so they've made a pact that I will kill my spouse and then I will kill myself rather than see them go into a care facility.
And you mentioned to me earlier that when you do the death scene investigation, sometimes you find bills piled up, and those are the things that give you clues.
Regularly we are finding evidence that it is a part of the recession, or certainly linked to the concept of losing their job, losing their home, being in financial straits, not being able to pay their creditors, and in many instances about 30% of the time people will leave some type of a written communique or maybe a voicemail or something of that nature. And we're in about 30% of those instances that there are suicides. The vast majority of those, they'll indicate why they're doing this. And many of those cases will indicate that it's as a result of not being able to cope with the stresses of the environment that we're in now.
Do you say, talking to other coroners around the country, do you think we're comparable to what's happening in other cities, or is it worse here?
Well, certainly as I'm seeing, meeting with other coroner medical examiners, they're experiencing some of the same things. I know that financially we're one of the worst cities for foreclosures as I understand it. And so as a result of that, I think we're seeing more of an increase than maybe some other places. But we are not unique to what's going on, and certainly other communities are not immune.
And the jump, correct me if I'm wrong, we've had also a very big increase in suicides over the year over year. I think it was like 34
yes,
more.
Yes, we've actually had 34 cases more in 08 than we did see in 07. If the numbers continue, I don't think that that number is going to get any smaller. I think one of my concerns about that, because when we start talking about numbers, is that this is the first time in a number of years, probably decades, that Las Vegas has not seen a growth in their population. And so the numbers going up while the population is not going up. When the numbers were going up slightly, I think because the population was growing, we had to say those numbers were static, or they were, in some instances, going down. With the decrease of population and the increase in that number, that's very concerning to us.
Okay, I want to thank you very much, Coroner Murphy, for stopping in. Again, it's an area of concern in our valley. And here's a number that you might want to write down. It's a 24-hour suicide prevention line. That number is 1-800-273-8255.